Hi, I'm Kathy Mills from Short Film Edits, and I'm here with Eric Brody for an interview today. How are you?
Fantastic. How's it going?
Good. Could we start this with you telling us a little bit about you?
Yeah, for sure. So, born and raised in Florida, grew up playing sports all my life, dove into modeling as I was going through school, then started commercial acting, um, did my first short film. Ever since my first short film, I got the bug, and it was a feeling even after wanting to play professional sports that this is what I want to do the rest of my life. Then made the journey out to LA. And then the rest is history.
Yeah. So, what drew you to the vertical space?
Yeah, so I was doing feature films and TV. Then in 2023, I was getting a few auditions from my agent. Um, and even back then, it was a bit earlier on. There were some people doing it, but it was still pretty early. And he's an older Hollywood guy, and he was like, I'm not understanding what these whole vertical things are. So we let a few of them pass. And then I got the opportunity for my first one to go to Lithuania. I wasn't going to turn that down. So I went out there and absolutely loved it, honestly. The fans and stuff are amazing people, super supportive. Um, it was a new sort of world to dive in, a lot of different techniques and stuff to learn. And ever since then, it's sort of been nonstop. So it's been awesome.
Okay. So, you do the modeling as well. How does modeling and acting influence each other for you, or do they?
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, a little bit. I'd say now at this point, I'm definitely more called for acting projects. However, modeling shoots that interest me. It's still about character embodiment. I'm still sort of playing a role of some sort, whether it's a fashion brand that I'm creating for, a fitness shoot, even if I'm playing like my own character. I sort of like to view it as it's still a role that I'm able to dive into. Then acting was just taking that on a different level.
Yeah. Did modeling make you feel more confident getting into acting, like with being in front of the
Yeah, it
camera and
did.
things?
Yeah. It did in a sense of just like you said, being in front of the camera, being around a bunch of creatives, being on larger sets, and working with the team. So all that stuff is sort of the same.
Yeah. Okay. Um, what type of scenes push you the most as an actor?
I'd say certain characters push me the most. The character that I just finished wrapping up, I mean, that was a full character embodiment. So sort of scenes where you're completely relinquishing control of yourself, and letting the presence of the character take over. And I think the challenge of that is just making sure you're as present as possible. So before every shoot I go into, my main objective is to be in the moment, be as present as possible, and then let the character sort of take over. And then every shoot, it never fails. That is what challenges me. That is what sort of gets the nerves going, and then from the first time you're on set, day one. Um, as long as I can be present in the moment, then that's most important. The rest sort of flies away.
Do you have like advice to get into character quickly?
Quickly, I like to think character thoughts. I do a lot of preparation beforehand, sometimes journaling as the character, looking at different relationships I have in the script. I think all of it relies in my preparation. That way, whenever I do get on set the first time, I can sort of like snap right into it based off the work that I've done prior leading up to the shoot.
Yeah, because some of the roles would be similar, so you could kind of go like, okay, I've kind of been in this situation before, and then like take it from that too.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I'll take it from personal experiences that either I went through. Sometimes if I haven't gone through them, then it's all in the imagination and making that as real as possible, living in the moment.
Yeah. Okay. Which character of yours has been the hardest to shake off after filming has finished?
I'd say the project that I just finished in Vancouver. After I died, he went mad on Drama Box.
Um,
Yeah, that character. I mean, he was just going through insane stages of grief. The whole time he was faced with the tragedy of his parents being killed on his wedding day, and then relinquishing all his anger on other people rather than facing it himself. And just feeling all those emotions. I mean, the character completely took over. I like to say I wasn't doing anything. It was completely the character. And then after that shoot, I was very immersed in it. So took me a bit of time to sort of get back to reality and sort of shake that guy off.
Yeah. Did you find that that taught you like a new learning experience in that role
Yeah,
there?
definitely. Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, the characters that I play teach me everything about life, which I'm beyond grateful for. I love the
Mm.
characters I play. I mean, they're very close to my heart. I think this last one, um, it just showed me the importance of my own personal routine. That way, when the director yells, it's a wrap on the shoot. Then I can slowly progress out of that character and get back into my daily routine, which, especially after that shoot, I'm now learning that it's very important to have.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You can't let them linger too long because then they affect your personal life and it's supposed to like,
Yeah,
gotta kind of cut it off. Yeah.
yeah, very much so.
Yeah. Okay. What's your favorite part of the filmmaking process?
I mean, I consider myself a storyteller, and I think that art imitates life. And I think just making people feel something while I'm feeling something at the same time while creating the film is something that's super special to me. I think that I mean even growing up and looking back at some of my favorite movies, some of those movies have completely shaped my life, you know. So if I can play a part in, you know, resonating with someone else or making other people feel something that they're looking to get out of, or feel anything whatsoever, I think that's super special for me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay. Is there a character trait you've had to learn from scratch for a role?
From scratch, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, when I played Jimmy Ferris and Lick, he was the leader of a rock band. And I mean, I don't come from any sort of musical background whatsoever. I'm not known to have the best vocals. However, being out there on stage was also a very special experience. I've never been on stage in my life. I've never played the guitar. I've never sang. So all that stuff it was completely new. So getting ready for that shoot, um, you know, it took a lot of preparation and stuff like that um, to play that character.
Did you find that like you had to find a different type of confidence to also like get on stage? I know it's like not real like you would on a normal stage, but like you're used to filming, but then you've still got to get on stage. Was that a different
Yeah,
confidence thing for you?
yeah, very much so. Actually, I mean, I was sort of, you know, telling myself affirmations about it while I was preparing for the shoot, and obviously hoping that I'd be confident. But sometimes
Mm,
whenever you get out there on stage, the moment sort of slaps you across the face. But luckily this
mm,
time, it was new for all of us characters, so we kind of bounced off the energy of each other. You know, it was a big amphitheater in Atlanta, is where we were shooting it. They had a big crowd. So honestly, I think we kind of let the moment take over. And right after we sang that song, we sort of looked at each other and we were like, holy shit. I mean, that was a really cool moment. We don't even know what happened, but it was exhilarating.
yeah, yeah. Well, at least you can go back and watch it.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's the beauty of storytelling, I guess.
Yes. All right. Has there been a bad acting habit you've had to unlearn?
um, let's see. I mean, I've had people say sometimes in the vertical world. I mean, I came from sort of features and TV where it's more so like full character, like you're moving around a lot, and obviously you can't go that far in a vertical screen. So I think technique wise, that was a bit different. I mean, I've had some people say that while I'm filming a vertical, if you have sort of like go completely ballistic, whatever the character calls for in the moment, that I've heard comments like, you know, it's just a vertical, you know, there's no need for that. Um, and I mean, sometimes, yeah, sometimes that sort of makes my body tingle. I'm not a fan of of that comment. I think sometimes it can kind of seep in. I think everything is contagious. Energy is contagious. So if that's being
Yeah.
spread, especially on set, um, I think that's uncalled for. I think every character deserves to be lived with truth,
Yeah.
and that's all I aim to do in the vertical space. And I think that even now, like lately, been on set. And I mean, the cast has been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I've been working with um, some amazing actors, amazing crews, amazing production companies. So lately it's been cool. But some comments like that, sometimes I think it can sort of creep in, and it's not cool.
No, it's not. I've seen so many comments too like that. And also like it's not, it's like just a vertical. You don't need to do too much, don't worry about it too
Yeah,
much. But at the end of the day, you still want to know that you're going in there doing the best you can. Give your
right.
character everything they deserve, no matter what you're going into.
Right, right. And I think how you do anything is how you do everything. So
Yep.
I think if you're getting in the habit of saying it's just a vertical, then the moment you maybe step on a bigger feature film set, then maybe that's going to
Mm,
creep over there, and that would not be a good
yeah.
look.
Well, the way that verticals are going, no one's going to say it's just a vertical soon.
I
So,
agree. Yeah, these things are booming, and I'm here for it. I love them.
yeah, me too. Me too. I've seen some very negative comments about verticals compared to, feature films and stuff, but you can't compare them because they're
You
completely
can't.
different. The time frame's different, the structure's different. They're not comparable, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. I
And I'm
agree.
all
I
for
agree.
verticals, so
Yeah, no, yeah, very, very, very much so. I've seen your stuff, so I know you're off of verticals, and I love it. I love what you do. And yeah, it's a lot of
thank
outsiders
you.
that are saying that, but I think at
Mm,
the same time, people are always going to talk, you know.
yeah,
But I think the vertical community itself, I think, are just very positive people. All the fans
yeah,
online are extremely positive. They're passionate. Um, I think I think the fan base is also pushing for better stories, and I think that's the reason why the
yeah.
vertical space is even growing. So huge testament to all the fans.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, we see things like even in feature films or big productions, we're like, oh, I wish they wouldn't do that. Same thing happens for verticals. Sometimes we're like, oh, I wish they'd change this or that. But you're still very new. Verticals are still
Right.
very new compared to all of that. So give them time.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Which genre or genres bring out your strongest work?
I think playing an anti-hero brings
Mm,
out my strongest work. I'd say maybe a little bit of suspense, sort of with like a little love story tied in. But yeah, I love diving in the world of an anti-hero because I think that even relating that back to real life. I mean, I love the art that you can sort of play with from absolutely horrific to lashing out to realizing what you've sort of put other people through to changing for the better. Um, I think those characters are special for me to play.
yeah, I think a lot of the anti-heroes resonate with people as well.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, very much. I mean, they're real. You know, they're very real. I think a lot of people can either relate as themselves or other people that they know in life.
I mean, I know that like I love the, billionaire CEO, some of the werewolf ones and things, but you can't really resonate with those ones because you're not a
Yeah,
billionaire and you're not a
yeah, yeah.
CEO,
Yeah, I mean, I
So
totally relate to the werewolves. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm a,
oh gosh.
but they're
Don't go
cool.
near
Yeah,
you on
they're
a full
cool.
moon. No.
No, the werewolf ones are cool though.
Yeah, yeah. So what makes a good scene partner for you?
I think that two people that can sort of share the presence of the moment together. I think obviously everyone says obviously chemistry is important, and yeah, it definitely is. I mean, people that you sort of vibe with off a set. I mean, most of the time you're going to have better chemistry on screen. But with that being said, I think as long as two people can sort of put every single thought, every single direction from their personal life away, and then right when the director yells action, or even whenever you're on set, um, I think you sort of let the character take over. Then I mean, the director can kind of shape you how they want. You're very malleable, and you're just sort of in the moment. I think that that's a very very special place to be.
Yeah, when you let go and just trust the moment to do
Yeah,
its
yeah,
thing.
it can be scary, but yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say that when both of you are like just really in it, when like everything is out and you're just in that moment makes the best scenes.
Yep, yep, yep. I definitely feel that. And even after the scene, whenever the director yells cut,
Mm.
and then some people are going to be like, "Yeah, how do you think that went?" And then most of the time, it's just like, I don't know how it went. You know, I actually don't know. Like I was there the whole time, but it's hard for me to get back in my thinking brain to look back at the scene to think about how it went.
Yeah.
So sometimes even watching these things back, I mean, Sometimes certain characters I play will feel better than others. I feel like I got there more than others. But even watching these things back, sometimes it's like, oh, so that's how that went. Um, and sometimes I have no recollection, no memory. Certain things you can sort of pinpoint that stand out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also a joy for me to watch these things back.
Yeah, I mean, I know some of you don't watch them, and that's a personal choice. But I've also heard from like the director's side of things that sometimes when you guys are like really, really in the moment, they don't say cut when they're supposed to
Yeah,
say cut because they just see where it goes, and
yeah,
that,
I absolutely love that. I think
mm,
that's really really cool.
yeah, yeah. Okay. What is the most important thing you want your performances to communicate?
I think authenticity and truth. I think even if it's the darkest character, the most hated guy in the world, everyone that's watching it absolutely hates me. Everyone wants to punch me across the face. As long as I'm telling the truth of the character, then that's my job. I mean, I go into every character, good or bad, not judging them whatsoever. I mean, all I want to do is be able to understand them so I can play them as truthfully as possible. So, to answer your question, just being as authentic as possible in their world.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. All right. If you could star in a vertical that you would class as your perfect storyline, what would it be?
Um, I would like to do I'd like to do a boxing one. I have yet to do a boxing one, or even like a different sport one. I mean, I've been playing sports all my life, but I think maybe adding a twist where it's, let's just say I'm playing a boxer. I mean, even now, like I take fighting classes. I love fighting. I love watching fighting. So I think living in that world would be fascinating, but also bringing the anti-hero element to it. I think would be cool. Being like a sort of like a movie like Creed, I think would be cool with obviously like a love story element in it. Um, I think that'd be sweet.
Yeah, like maybe using boxing as a way to get through something.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, even now, like taking boxing classes now, you sort of shut everything off, and it's just sort of you in the bag. And I think that would be a good escape of your personal problems that you'd be facing as an anti-hero. So I think that'd be neat.
Yeah, yeah. I think my kids would benefit from a boxing bag in the garage or something.
Definitely, yeah, yeah. I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. All right. What's something unexpected you've learned from a scene partner just by listening?
Just by listening. Good question. I'd say, I'm very fascinated by people that, and a couple of my co-stars recently can sort of mingle a little bit and stuff prior to the scene, um, as in their own personal world and, talking how they talk and making small talk and stuff like that. And then right when it's about to shoot, it's sort of like by the snap of the fingers, you're sort of turning that off and immediately
Mm.
jump in the character. And I mean, someone like myself, I sort of maybe it's just my technique. I'm not too sure what it is, but I think I need to stay in it for a longer period of time. So I am absolutely amazed by certain people that can sort of, by the snap of the fingers, just instantly change right away, and then right when the director yells action, diving into the scene, bawling your eyes out,
Mm.
lashing out with emotion. I think that's amazing. And I've had a couple vertical co-stars, some ladies that were able to do it, and I mean, I was just sort of sitting back, sort of mesmerized by it. I think it was it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I know that you can get some like training and stuff, but that still has like a certain skill to be able to do those things, even with,
Yeah,
you know, even if
yeah,
you've had
definitely.
lots of training, some people can't just do it like that. Like,
For sure, for sure. And it's cool that like, I mean, you see it all the time that like a bunch of different actors on set. I mean, I think everyone's technique is very different. And I think that's
mm,
also the fascinating thing about being able to sort of bounce techniques off each other and look how other people operate in the same world, but completely different techniques. I think that's always fascinating.
yeah, I think just sitting back and watching your co-stars and stuff, you can learn a lot from them just by watching.
100%, 100%.
Mm,
Sometimes
mm,
silence is the best teacher.
yes, absolutely. Yeah. What's an acting tip someone has given you that it still pops into your mind on set?
Um, I'd say it's actually coming from a book that I read, a Larry Moss book. It's called The Intent to Live. Um, and it's just sort of, obviously, as cliche as it sounds, just sort of like living the life in the moment. Sometimes you can sort of put on a face and um, you're sort of like caught acting. And I think this exploring this book and everything that he was saying about his projects and stuff like that completely changed the way I looked at acting, completely changed everything about my process now. So everything lies now in the preparation. That way, whenever I even step one foot on set, it's a completely new world. It's not like my world anymore. It's a completely new world that I'm jumping into. I think that book has completely changed my life.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That sounds like a good book.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. All right. Do you prefer the more subtle roles or the more dramatic roles?
More dramatic, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely more dramatic.
What do you enjoy most about those?
I mean, I think the wide range of emotions I'm able to feel during a certain film excite me the most. The more complex characters excite me the most. Um, I mean, the CEOs and stuff like that are cool. The characters that are more stoic the whole time. Their arc is a little bit wavy. But I like playing this sort of character where you get out
Yeah.
super up and it's a big crash out and it's a big spike back up. Um, I think those characters are the ones that excite me the most.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Um, what's a creative risk you've taken that has paid off more than you thought it would?
Greater risk of taking that paid off. I think sometimes, I mean, with the vertical world, sometimes these projects sort of come with the snap of a finger, and you're sort of signed, like a little bit about your character, but you're signed on to a role without even reading the script sometimes. I think that's always a risk. I mean, you know a little bit
Mm.
about your character. You did an audition that was 3 pages long, so you can do your best to put a couple puzzle pieces together. But from a grand scheme of things, I mean, I think it's a huge risk not knowing sort of anything about the story. Saying yes to the opportunity, saying yes because the character excites you, but not knowing what the role consists of. And I mean, more often than not, it's been a blessing.
Mm. How do you navigate that when it's not exactly how you wanted it to be and you've already signed on?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, I also like to use it as a challenge. I like to use it as an opportunity that even if it's not, um, a project that I've been absolutely like wanting to do, craving to do a certain story, it's also a challenge of mine to be able to act as a character, even if I'm not absolutely crazy about the story and still getting into the truth of the character. That way, like I said before, how you do anything is how you do everything. So I think that's the
Yeah.
most important for me.
Yeah. Okay. All right. How do you approach understanding your character's backstory when it's not fully written into the script?
Yeah, I think a lot of preparation by looking at different relationships that my character has within the story. I think you can find a lot about yourself um, with what other people tell, with what other people say about you, whether that's in direct communication with you or people talking behind your back in other scenes. I use a lot of that to sort of build my own backstory, and then a lot of it also sometimes in these verticals, where it's completely new characters, just relies in your imagination, and doing your best to, like I said, either think character thoughts, journal, even if it's not exactly said. I want to figure out everything about my character, when they're born, their favorite food, what time they go to sleep. I just like to know everything about it. That way, if any sort of thought happens on set, I'm able to be like, oh yeah, that's that's my character.
Mm.
That the director obviously shapes it a certain way. And then we're like, no,
Yeah.
we think your character is this, we think your character is X, we think your character is Y. Then you can be like, obviously process that in your mind, and able to sort of switch. But I think that preparation, I mean, is absolutely everything for these things, especially in the vertical space when you don't know too much for a long period of time about the story, about your character.
Yeah. Have you ever had a time where you've like not got a lot of backstory and you've gone into a character thinking it would be this way, and then the director's like, no, no, that's wrong. We want it this way?
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And I mean
Mm.
that's sort of that sort of puts you on a journey.
Mm,
Sometimes you sort of think about the backstory, and then you get on set. Obviously, you're gonna be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna nail this. I'm there. I know my guy I'm playing." Then your director is like, "Yeah, we actually, have the vision that it's like this, and then maybe it's completely different." I think most of the time it's gonna be similar. Obviously, the more you do these things, but
yeah,
yeah, I have had a couple experiences where it's completely different. Then also, it challenges me as an actor to sort of empty out everything I thought about my character. If I'm super passionate about some ideas, then maybe I'll ask them a question about, I thought about it this way. Then if they're still like, no, ultimately it's a director's vision, and
yeah,
my job as an actor is to give my heart and soul to the
yeah.
project. So I also like to use it as a challenge to erase everything and welcome in new ideas.
Have you had much have you had a good run with collaboration with directors for ideas?
Yeah. I think on these verticals, especially, I think directors are very open to new ideas. Sometimes it'll get to the point where maybe the director will. Sometimes the writer's on set, and maybe the director will call the writer even about a question that we sort of had to have together. There's some things in the script, especially in verticals, that these vertical directors have been doing for a very long time, and they shoot a lot of these things that are, this is a staple. This needs to be in there. This scene needs to be in there. You need to do it this specific way. Um, but most of the time, at least on the first take, the director sort of let you do it based off your vision of the character. Then maybe the director afterwards will direct you off of that. So it sort of work backwards a little bit.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of times that, people get cut off mid-scene to like try again. Have you had that issue or do they normally let you run it through and then go back?
No, I've definitely had that issue.
Mm,
Even sometimes in vertical scenes, like the longer scenes, the scenes that are whatever. Maybe the scenes are like 7 page continuous gala scenes, and they take a very, very long time to film. And the director obviously you'll cut sort of mid throughout the scene, do it in different pieces. Um, but I think that was new for me getting into the vertical world because I was not used to that sort of in features. Because I mean, the minute you cut, it's obviously a pause in the energy of the crew, and obviously you got to hop back in it afterwards.
yeah.
So it's tough when that happens. At least in the first one, I like to at least go all the way through. But there has been certain scenes that are very emotionally intense for me that the director will yell cut. Um, I talk to him about it, about obviously whatever points you're trying to tell me, and then I'll tell them on the next one, hey, if it's okay with you, I'd like to live this one all the way out, just because sometimes it affects me being in the moment. Yelling cut, getting an idea, going back in, yelling cut again, and moving somewhere else. So I will say that, especially for the more intense scenes, that if I can live this all the way through.
Yeah. I think communicating that's really good too, because sometimes they just don't realize it, you know.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
there's some people that don't mind getting cut off and they can get straight back to it, but I think communicating
yeah.
that's really good. Mm.
Yeah, very much so. And I get it in these verticals. I mean, you're filming a whole hour and a half movie in 8 days most of the time. So, I mean, everyone's obviously on a time crunch. You're flying through the day. So, obviously, the director sometimes has a job to do to be able to finish on time every single day to make sure this project gets done. But I think it's also the actor's job to protect their character, to protect the truth of their character, and sort of meshing those two ideas together.
Yeah, definitely. How do you find staying in character when you're filming in like fragmented pieces and out of order?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time, especially if the character is very different to myself and it's a more challenging character to bring my life. I mean, I'm one who isolates a lot. I spend a lot of time by myself. Even in my personal life, I also isolate
Me
myself. I
too.
mean, I don't really have too many conversations on set for the most part
Mm.
with certain characters. Some characters are different. And I think that way, you're sometimes I listen to music, sometimes I sort of just close my eyes and think about all sorts of stuff.
Mm.
Um, and then that way, obviously, whenever the next scene is up, sometimes you're filming the end before the beginning. Obviously, you know how it is. You're filming the middle right before you're like it's sort of like boot camp in a way where you're doing 20 pages a day scenes all throughout the movie, all different emotions that you're feeling. So I think it's important for me in order to stay present that most of the time I just like to isolate myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I'm pretty much of a isolated person myself. I'm happy with my own company.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers to that. I agree. I agree. I agree.
Yeah. Well, then my kids keep me out of that a little bit, but like, Mum, you have to do this. Okay.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'm sure that's good. I'm sure
Yeah.
you love that
That
though.
breaks it up a little bit.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
so how do you find building chemistry with people that you haven't worked with before?
I think people that are jumping into a project and completely open. I think people that are excited about a project, I think people that are excited to share what their character thinks. I do like to spend a little bit of time if you can. I mean, obviously these verticals are shot all around the world, at least a couple of days before to sort of meet the cast, especially my direct co-star, and sort of just hang out with them. I mean, you don't even
Mm.
have to talk anything about the movie whatsoever, but just sort of hang out with them, feel their energy, they'll feel your energy. Sometimes talk about the character, sometimes not. Then sometimes you do these, and the first time you meet is at the table read,
Yeah.
the day before you're about to shoot. Um, but I think it's also that can also be special. Like I said before, is as long as you're in the moment, sometimes you feel like there's no need to build chemistry. You're just sort of like, I felt like I've known this person for a decade now,
Yeah.
as you're
Mm.
just entering this new world together. So some of that's
Mm.
beautiful.
And I know that sometimes you don't even get table reads, so sometimes you're not meeting that person until like you're on set on the day in the
Yeah.
moment.
Yep. Yeah, that does happen. That's exhilarating.
Mm. How do you navigate doing intimacy scenes if you've not met them before and they're like really early on in filming?
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, sometimes they'll be having you do those day one.
Mm.
Most of the time, there is an intimacy coordinator on set.
Yeah.
And obviously, that's a very important role as well. Those people are very helpful. But I think a lot of the time, it's also just open communication, just communicating about absolutely everything.
Yeah.
If you have any certain lines that you don't want to cross, but also obviously usually you'll get on set obviously for these scenes and you're both you're both aware that it's the characters that are doing these scenes, it's not you.
Yeah.
It's like you're not playing yourself, you're playing
Yeah.
playing a character, so it's 100% acting while living in the
Yeah.
moment together. So I think the biggest thing is just communication, and it'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay. If you could revisit any character you've played and perform it again with everything you know now, would you and who would it be?
Whenever I watch myself back, it's like the inner critic in me. Most of the time, it never fails. Every single project, I'm gonna be like, oh God, I would love to do that scene again. I would love
Yeah.
to do a different take. And, sometimes you watch these back and maybe you did a different take, but that's not the one that made it in the edit.
Mm.
So sometimes it's completely out of your control. Um, but yeah, I mean, honestly, it never fails. Even the last one I just watched, it's like every single film. There's moments in the film where I'm looking at it. I would love to maybe do that a different way. Even sometimes watching blockbuster movies, and sometimes I'm thinking that I would love to have a twist on that and maybe do that a certain way as well. But there's also some times where you're just like, I don't have any other ideas how to do that again, and I think those are the cool moments where you're just like,
Yeah.
and I mean, obviously, I learned that from even looking at some of my favorites like Christian Bale or Leo and some of these people, and you're just like, I don't even have any other ideas. Like you nailed that. Like that was it. And those are some those are some of the coolest moments.
Christian Bale is a phenomenal actor.
Oh, my favorite, my favorite. I
Yeah.
love them, love them.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Morgan Freeman.
Oh yeah, one of the greatest. You can't
Yeah.
not like Morgan Freeman. I feel
Yeah.
like he's
Yeah.
he's
I just
amazing.
need him to
Amazing.
like read me a book.
Yeah, yeah. I would love to be there as well if there's another seat in the room. Yeah, I'm definitely
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my favorite role with him would be because it's also my favorite movie was Shawshank Redemption. Just
Oh, Yeah, that's my mom's favorite movie. I mean, you can watch that movie over and over and over again and never. It's one of those, you know.
Yeah.
I've
I
probably
mean, you
seen it a
don't get
hundred times and
the shock factor like you did the first time, but
right,
it's
right,
still
right.
brilliant. Like,
It's still an amazing film. It's still an amazing film.
yeah, absolutely. Okay. The vertical format is evolving rapidly. What changes do you want to see over the next few years?
Um, I think just spreading across a variety of genres, I think would be pretty cool.
Mm,
Um, Obviously, like the vertical world is very good at what they're doing. I think that certain companies are sort of pushing the boundaries now that I think are cool, and I think change is scary on all levels. But the first that sort of do it, um, you can either absolutely tank or you can do things and change the complete course of vertical filmmaking. So I think a
mm,
different genres, but whether it's sci-fi, horror, I think some people might not be there for them, but there's certain people that it will, and I think it can gather new audiences maybe in the
yeah.
vertical world, which would be cool.
I'll be there for any type of sci-fi.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Me
I'm a
too.
big Matrix fan, so I think something like that. I want to do a vertical Matrix. That'd be sick.
Yeah, Matrix. I'm more Stargate. Oh, Stargate.
Mm. You like
Mm,
Inception?
yes,
Inception was cool.
it
Something
was
like
good.
that would be cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. All right. What is the most valuable lesson you've learned from working in this industry so far?
Um, I'll go back to presence of the moment. I'll go back to, being there, nowhere else. I mean, even like we're all humans. A lot of the times we're sort of thinking thoughts that aren't even real. I think you're thinking about things in the future. You're thinking about things in the past, and you're letting the moment sort of fly away. Um, so I mean, obviously, it's everything as an actor. So I mean, I try and as much as I can bring that to my personal life, and it creates a newfound sense of peace that I've been able to feel on a day-to-day basis, and there's nothing like it. I mean, obviously, we all go through stuff. You have to
Yeah.
think about certain things. We're all human. We go through horrible things. Um, but I think for the most part, as long as I'm in the moment, then I can be at a sense of peace.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. All right. What are some challenges you face on set that others outside the field might not recognize?
Um, I think it's like on these verticals, like I say, you're doing 20 pages a day. Um, I think there's obviously the more intense stories, like the last one I finished, you're literally going from an intense, just sobbing scene while you're on your knees, like hoping for like another chance. Obviously, hopefully you nail that scene, director yells cut, and then you instantly run to go change your clothes into a completely new outfit, wipe off the tears, and then literally can't have no time for anything else. And sprint to set on the other side of the house that you're shooting at or wherever you're shooting. And it's a scene where you're lashing out or it's a scene where you're laughing. I think stuff like that, I mean, is usually not what you do in a feature. So I think in the vertical world, it's sort of like boot camp as an actor to be able to make sure you're there. And I think a lot of times, whenever you're watching these, you're like, oh, sure enough, they probably spent a month filming this thing with all these locations and
Mm.
everything. And no, I mean, I've done some where you do this whole thing in 5 days. That was the shortest I've done it, and it's intense. I mean, sometimes these are like 18-hour days.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just nonstop. So I think obviously that's something that's uncommon for the public eye.
Yeah. That's not the first time I've heard that too. These
Yeah,
interviews, that's one of the ones that's quite popular. You know what you just said, that it's really hard to go from one scene to another so quickly.
yeah,
Um, I've also noticed like a lot of people have on the outside, like not us fans because we love you, but just people who watch verticals and things like that. Sometimes they say, they comment on your acting, and it's like, sometimes, oh, they could have done better, they could have done better, but they're not there. They don't realize how fast you have to do this, how quickly it's shot. And if they
right,
took everything into account of everything you do, they'd be like, okay, I'll shut up now.
right,
But
right. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. And I mean, also sometimes people don't know the direction that you're sort of getting on set. Sometimes
That's
people are
true.
wanting, like the storytellers are wanting these things shot a certain way.
Mm,
Sometimes if it's not like, I mean, people are always like, there's always going to be critique and stuff out there. I think people have the
mm.
right to critique if they want.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but obviously, there's certain things that are if it made it on the screen, I think there's certain reasons why it's there.
yeah. No, I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you stay authentic and present on set with all the distractions like camera crew and time pressure?
I think a lot of the time I bring these headphones everywhere I go.
Yeah,
I'm also, if you haven't noticed, a fan of sunglasses. I sort
yeah.
of feel like that's something that um, it sort of puts me in my own world, actually. I feel like when the shades come off, the headphones are off, I'm hearing all sorts of things, people running around everywhere, all sorts of ideas being thrown out there. Um, there's a lot of lights and stuff everywhere, and I feel like for me, someone that likes to isolate, when I put these headphones on, maybe listen to some music, maybe some white noise, maybe nothing.
Mm,
And I put on the sunglasses, sort of I can sort of hop back into the character that I'm playing.
yeah. I'm a big fan of my headphones too. I
Yeah. Oh, they're
I
great.
live with my headphones.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
ones you got?
Um, I do need new ones. I've just got JBL, just some
Oh,
noise
nice. Yeah, those,
canceling.
those are nice.
Yeah.
Those are
Yeah.
nice.
I mean, they're not the best ones, but I mean, they do for now.
You
And
got
like,
them. They do the job.
yeah, I mean, when I'm watching, I used to be very patient. I used to be able to watch something on the TV with the kids running around and the noise, and it'd be fine. I could just focus. But now, if they're making noise, I'm like, ah, headphones.
Yeah, yeah. That's so funny. I'm the same way. I'm
Yeah,
the
like I
exact
need
same
to be able
way.
to hear everything that I'm watching to be able to like focus on it properly. So,
Yep, yep. I'm the same way. I mean, that goes back to even like I just love watching movies in a theater. Everyone's
oh,
like
yes.
everyone's there. For the most part, you should not be on your phone and stuff like that. So it's
Mhm.
sort of an experience where you're sort of living in that. Um, so I think maybe a vertical movie theater is the next move. That would be pretty
Mm,
neat.
yes, yep. I was speaking to and Anthony with another interview, and he said he thinks it's just going to get to a point where our TVs are just going to flip vertically.
I don't see why not. I definitely think
Yeah,
that'll be an option. I
yeah,
definitely think it could be going that way.
yeah. And I'm mentioning the movies. I just went and watched Wicked Part Two in the theater.
Oh, how was that? I haven't seen
Oh, it
it.
was so good. I mean, I'm not going to give anything away, but I think
Yeah.
the first movie was stronger,
Mm,
but the second part was still really good.
nice. Yeah, I think watching something like that in a theater is important.
Yes, there's a new Avatar
Definitely.
too, which I didn't realize until I went to the theater.
Oh,
So,
I didn't even know about that. I'm a huge
neither did
Avatar
I.
fan. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I want to go watch that too.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. What's the funniest thing that's ever happened to you on set?
Funniest thing that's ever happened to me on set. Um, I mean, there's all sorts of bloopers. I think there's a time in shooting a project in China. There's an actor named Patrick Zappacosta. Um, he was playing one of the villains in it, and every every take he did, he completely like changed the line. He sort of improv something new, and it was a comedic line. And every take was was different. Obviously, he was able to get sort of everyone to sort of crack.
Hmm.
I mean, he was just throwing the most lavish things out there. That one hasn't even came out yet, so I'm not too sure what they're even going to do. The editors
Yeah.
probably are probably hating it for continuity wise, but just
Oh,
certain
yes.
things that I mean, certain things like whenever people are improv and stuff, sort of change it up every time. It can be very tough for verticals, especially for editing. Um, but I think something like that, even if you're not in the scene and you're sort of watching, it can just sort of make you chuckle, and that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've dabbled in some editing, and continuity is one of my biggest things when it comes to
Oh,
editing. So,
oh yeah, I bet sometimes in some of these it's a nightmare for them.
yeah,
Big
I'm
props
like,
to the editors. I mean, that's a
well, even
tough
just
job.
watching, I'm like, that's still supposed to be there in
Yeah.
that scene. It's still supposed
Yeah,
to be there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. If you could swap roles with any character you've played for a day just for fun, who would it be?
Swap roles with characters I played.
Yeah.
Um, As in like playing them again or what?
Like if you could just be one of your characters for a day, just for fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Um, mm, I mean, I think playing being Jimmy and Lick would be pretty sick. I mean, he's the lead singer of a rock band. I
Mm.
mean, who knows what comes with who comes with that? I mean, I watched sort of a bunch of interviews on rock stars and stuff out there from the past, and I think, I mean, that would be a pretty wild life. I think touring with the boys.
Yeah.
I think you'd have all sorts of stories to tell, so that would be pretty sick.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right.
That'd be
If you
cool.
had the power to change something in the vertical world, what would it be and why?
Power to change something. I mean, I'd go back to adding different genres. I mean, I would love to take a stab on, like we said, sci-fi or something that no one's ever created before in the vertical space. I mean, it's just vertical story. Like it's completely the same storytelling. You can just um, add new genres. I mean, I think that the ones I've done recently, I sort of shot like a feature film, and even looking at the edits, it feels more like a feature film than a quote unquote vertical. And I think that's
Mm.
just a testament to how the verticals are already progressing.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I would love to do a crazy mind bending sci-fi film,
Mm.
vertical
I want to
format.
see that. I really want to see that too.
Yeah, it'd be so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. If there's certain roles you feel less confident doing.
Are there certain roles I feel less confident doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think sometimes playing the characters that are most unlike me in every single way are one, the most exciting for me to bring to life, and two, by far the most challenging. I think it scares me every single time. Um, you'll get the part with not knowing anything about them. You can't relate to them on pretty much every level. I mean, they're crazy characters, and I think it's obviously my job to figure out their life. So I think it scares me, it challenges me, but it's also my favorite characters to play.
Definitely. It gives you a whole new learning experience and
Definitely, yeah,
stuff
for
every
sure.
time
I
you
mean,
do it.
I learned so much from them. Even back in my
Mm.
personal life, I take a lot of experiences from them. Um, Sometimes I like to think like them, even in my personal life, and just be like, well, I mean, I can relate to it now. And sometimes your characters
Mm.
go through certain things that you would go through later in life. I mean,
Yeah.
you can relate to it that way. So yeah, those characters are fun.
Yeah. And you could like maybe take some of what your character did and go, okay, they handled it this way. Maybe I can try that.
Very
Mm.
much so. Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything you want anybody to know about you or your work?
I want people to know about me. I think sometimes, I mean, I've been getting some messages about about the last character I played that some people were sort of um, worried for me, especially how hated my character was, how obviously intense it was. I mean, I'm not going to say I wasn't because I was losing my mind, obviously playing the character, but I think the character is also losing his mind, so it's hard to see which mind was actually lost. Um, but also, I
Mm.
want people to know that I love every single moment of what I do. I truly would not change it. I am so grateful to be doing what I'm doing. I mean, if if the fans are feeling something from my performance, whether it's good or bad, I want them to know that I'm happy and it was an honor to bring that character to life.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's great. I get that. I mean, yeah, some of them aren't easy. I've heard in a little of these interviews, some of the characters are just not easy to play, and some are like really fun. You walk away from
Yeah,
some sets and you're like, that was amazing. And you
yeah,
walk away from others going, oh, that was rough. But
right.
at the end of the day, you still got to do it. You still got to portray that character. You still got to be there. So,
Very much so.
yeah. All right. If you could go back and relive a single day in your career, which day would you pick?
Live a single day. Um, I think playing. I think shooting a basketball vertical in Lithuania in a random village against professional Lithuanian basketball players was, I mean, even just
Mm,
saying it, it's insane. I mean, I never
mm,
once thought I'd go to Lithuania, and it was one of the most beautiful countries I've ever been to. So I think living that day would be cool. I mean, it was a random village outside of the capital, like a 2 hour bus drive. Really nothing around but one basketball arena, and
mm.
huge Lithuanian basketball players. And as someone who played sports most of his life, I mean, that was like I had so much fun. Like it
Yeah,
was so much fun.
yeah, an experience you're never going to forget.
Most definitely, most definitely.
Mm. I've got one more question. Um, what does a good day on set look like for you?
Good day on set. I think that I think energy is very important. So I think crew, cast, everybody that's on set is for the most part, which it is the case, but loving what they're doing. I think you're grateful to be there. Obviously, that's like the job that you want. You're not doing the job. Obviously, we all have to put food on the table, but it's a job that you once dreamed of. And I think that when you have that energy on set, and everyone's loving what they're doing, even if it's an intense day, I think that's a special moment. I mean, the one thing I love about filmmaking alone is that most people get in it because they absolutely love it, not because they have to.
Mm.
And I think that's special, and you can just feel the energy being there, where everyone's in the moment, everyone's loving it. I think those are the most special days.
Yeah, I've heard from so many people that, I mean, actors, that if you're not going to get very far in this career if you're not in it because you really love it, you know.
Yeah,
So if you're
yeah.
in
I
it
mean,
for
it's
the
a
fame and the glory, it's not going to get you anywhere.
yeah, 100%. I mean, it can be a very, very gruesome job, and I mean, you're sort of at it with a long time. I mean, not making money for years and years and years, but I mean, it's the love of the craft that sort of just drives you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to have this interview with me today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was lovely talking to you.
Anytime. All right, I will talk to you again very soon.
Cool. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.